the metropolis of Oklahoma, an expansive city where miles of tarmac stretch and the wind rustles stories of speed and horsepower. Here, in the cradle of myths and tales, lies the young Jeff Bonnet, a boy with big goals and an insatiable hunger for adventure. Street Outlaws viewers have probably become used to seeing Jeff, alias AZN, and Farm Truck working together. Some have gone so far as to call him his right-hand man. Beyond their shared affinity and passion for the music, AZN is easily identifiable and has experienced both success and failure throughout his time on the program. All right, let's have a look. Fans of the Street Outlaws know and love Jeff Bonnet, better known as AZN, for his charming demeanor and hilarious antics. However, there were many setbacks on the road to fame as a street racing legend. He became the man, racer, and entertainer we know today, along a path wrought with ups and downs, victories, and tragedies. Jeff Bonnet was born to Dennis and Matsu Bonnet on August 3, 1981, in the Oklahoma racing town. Even though Jeff had a leg up growing up in a community where racing was highly valued, he didn't really break through until he met someone who would become his mentor. Jeff's strong bond with his father, Dennis, a Vietnam War veteran, is the genesis of his love of automobiles. Dennis taught Jeff to appreciate the power under the hood and to enjoy tinkering. While Dennis was essential in Jeff's upbringing by teaching him to drive, Jeff acknowledges that Farm Truck, who adopted him and is still an ally, was the source of his present racing expertise and passion. Since Jeff began to refine his racing career, the two have been inseparable. Even if Jeff and Farm Truck end up getting along, Jeff owes his first trip to Dennis, his dad. An old beaten-up 1964 Chevy Nova, bought with a loan from his dad for $2,800, was their most treasured asset. Jeff didn't have a job when he bought the automobile, and he was a high school student. In an interview, Jeff said that his father gave him money and promised to be his bank as long as he repaid the whole amount. Jeff had to become resourceful in order to make a livelihood, yet he agreed with this phrase. In order to make it simpler for firemen to locate residents' houses in the event of an emergency, he had to contact the neighbors and ask if they would mind painting their house numbers on the curbs. Jeff and his father were an unstoppable force as they dedicated many hours and weekends to repairing the Chevy, turning it from a dilapidated artifact into a symbol of their mutual love and devotion. Dennis took an interest in Jeff and became his first mentor, instilling in him an appreciation for mechanics and the joy of physical labor. Without warning, Jeff's enthusiasm for street racing skyrocketed, and he set out to maximize his enjoyment of this newfound pastime. In the unpredictable Oklahoma racing tracks, he quickly found what he was looking for, competing against some of the area's most seasoned racers and meeting Sean Whitley, better known as Farm Truck. Career and growth. A love of speed and excitement drove Jeff Bonnet, better known as AZN, to begin his racing career when he was a teenager. The Chevy Nova and a 1970 Volkswagen Beetle, which he lovingly called the Dung Beetle, were his first racing vehicles. It was with this eccentric ride that AZN first made his mark on the street racing world, showcasing his distinctive style of racing. Another Oklahoma City racer whose route crossed with AZN's was Sean Whitley, better known as Farm Truck. Both of them had unusual approaches to the sport. They became friends over their mutual admiration for racing and each other's unique personalities, and their passion of the sport brought them together. On the streets of Oklahoma, the bond began long before Street Outlaws. Jeff had no fear of competing against the game's top players when he just began racing, even though Farm Truck was a part of it. Jeff had no chance against Farm Truck's expertise, but it was Jeff's magnetic personality that brought them together, and they've been working together ever since. No one knew for sure what had cemented the relationship, but others thought Jeff may benefit from having a father figure. As it turns out, Jeff's upbringing was less than ideal. A devastating blow to him and his family came when his mother died away from cancer when he was a teenager. On top of everything else, tragedy struck again in 2001 when Dennis passed away from a cardiac issue. As a result, Jeff and his sister Brenda were left without parents. There was a huge void in Jeff's life caused by this incident. On the other hand, Jeff was never the kind to give in to bad luck. It seemed like his hopes and ambitions were winning out. After losing his father and mentor, he hit rock bottom and dove headfirst into street racing, maybe to find solace in his father's memories. This path eventually brought him to Sean. Their alliance was cemented in the street racing scene by Farm Truck's legendary car, a 1970 Chevrolet C10 pickup truck. Television producers took notice of AZN and Farm Truck as they kept improving their racing abilities and reputation in the street racing scene of Oklahoma City. The new reality program Street Outlaws would have been a perfect fit for their unique cars, strong friendships, and charismatic personalities. Thus, AZN and Farm Truck debuted on Street Outlaws in 2013 as two of the 405 crew members who comprised the program. In certain videos, you could see them sporting a sweatshirt that reads 405. Their humble attitude, hilarious antics, and incredible racing skills have captivated viewers for years. Their abilities were shown to a broader audience on the program, which propelled them to popularity in the street racing world and beyond. AZN became a household name among Street Outlaws fans with his crossover into the show, which was a major milestone in his racing career. He became an iconic personality in the world of street racing entertainment because to his contagious enthusiasm, comic timing, and indisputable driving talent. Jeff was given the streets of Oklahoma City to prove himself on. In his spare time, he would test the boundaries of his abilities and the capabilities of his vehicle. Here is where he got the whimsical moniker AZN, which is a play on his mixed-race Asian and Caucasian ancestry. But it wasn't all rainbows and unicorns at the beginning of street racing. His determination was challenged by many setbacks and devastating defeats, but Jeff's unfaltering resolve and the memories of his father drove him on. But there's one thing about Farm Truck and AZN's partnership that everyone should know. In a way, they each had a different approach to racing. There is a lot of rivalry among the other racers on the program over who will win. But these two have very different strategies. Cars that were quick and practical for everyday use seemed like they were simply having fun while building them. The catch is that other racers were eager to shell out everything they could get their hands on in exchange for fast cars, really fast cars, because that's the only way to make it on Street Outlaws courses. People know Jeff from his 1970 Volkswagen Beetle and other classic creations, but he was always more interested in more obscure projects. Nevertheless, the 1970 Volkswagen Beetle owned by Jeff Bonnet, popularly known as the Dung Beetle, is dear to Bonnet and to Street Outlaws fans alike. This non-traditional vehicle choice demonstrated AZN's unique flair and his openness to new ideas in the realm of street racing, adding depth to the experience beyond the usual adrenaline rush. In comparison, the Dung Beetle was neither typical nor quick enough to be considered a race automobile. Jeff could get by every day in the little rear-engine Beetle, a far cry from the high-performance muscle vehicles often associated with street racing because of its eccentric good looks rather than its speed. Video evidence exists of Jeff and Sean enjoying themselves as they paint the car. Its rusty paint look belies the amount of care and attention that went into its creation. But there's no denying that the Dung Beetle had a major makeover to improve its track performance when AZN was in charge. It may have been heavier than some of the other Street Outlaws vehicles, but it would still outrun a standard automobile in a pursuit. Engine, suspension, and general performance were all improved upon when AZN worked on the Dung Beetle. The Beetle, with its modest exterior, was a fierce street competitor. Its speed and agility shocked its rivals, but it wasn't enough to win races for Jeff. He eventually ran into trouble with this, but the Dung Beetle's distinctive character was what really made it stand out. A popular character on Street Outlaws and a revered emblem of AZN's racing career, the Beetle gained a unique coat of brown and green paint. But other racers weren't exactly eager to take on Jeff on the circuits. Jeff could almost guarantee that after every run he would lose. So the original essence of drag racing was diminished, even if it had withstood the initial excitement and nerve-wrackingness of not knowing the result. Because of his apparent lack of enthusiasm for winning, the show's producers began to exclude Jeff from races. On the other hand, Sean met the same fate as Jeff. Both were resolute in their determination to make the most of their precarious circumstances as they were left to fend for themselves. The two were determined to pursue presenting a program of their own, where they could live out their dreams without interfering with the racing action. A spin-off series called Street Outlaws, Farm Truck, and AZN was born from this. The escapades of Sean Whitley and Jeff Bonnet, the renowned combo from the original Street Outlaws program, are the center of Street Outlaws, Farm Truck, and AZN, a spin-off series. With its 2018 premiere, the spin-off gave viewers a better look at Farm Truck and AZN's dynamic alliance and their off-track antics. The program chronicled Farm Truck and AZN's lives as they continued to race on the street, touching on their friendships, interests, and struggles in addition to their racing exploits. With their trademark mix of entertainment, comical banter, camaraderie, and an unconventional approach to racing, Farm Truck and AZN delivered in every episode. As the beloved couple tried to begin a relationship, fans got a better look at them. An inside look at the lives of these two adored characters was provided to viewers of Street Outlaws, Farm Truck, and AZN. The show highlighted their interactions with other racers, their attempts to optimize their vehicles for maximum performance, and their pursuit of racing glory in Oklahoma City and beyond. The program featured Farm Truck and AZN's off-duty escapades as much as their racing exploits, revealing more about their character and hobbies outside racing. With fishing excursions and automotive customizing projects interspersed throughout each episode, viewers got a full picture of the duo's life outside of racing. During this period, we saw the pair construct some really ridiculous automobiles that had no use whatsoever. The original Street Outlaws series was known for its high-octane action and thrills, but Street Outlaws, Farm Truck, and AZN set itself apart by focusing more on the bond between the two main characters. Farm Truck and AZN's prominence as beloved characters in the Street Outlaws canon was solidified by the spin-off's emphasis on their dynamic cooperation. However, for whatever reason, the program failed to get the necessary attention to be successful. Someone wasn't quite right, and some people thought the show's producers should have gone all out with the publicity. Perhaps Jeff and his business partner's automobiles weren't living up to the hype. They were quickly relegated to the original series, where they still are today. The Dung Beetle won over spectators with its underdog position, and AZN's unfaltering commitment to extracting every drop of performance from the little car, regardless of how odd the attitude of this pair is to street racing. The Dung Beetle cemented its position in the pantheon of iconic Street Outlaws cars, whether it was winning races or giving comic relief. Its impact on fans was profound. While some racers may have thought it dull, the Dung Beetle exemplifies AZN's racing philosophy by adding a unique, energetic, and unquestionably entertaining element that worked well with the show's overall focus. The Beetle may have had modest beginnings, but it grew to represent AZN's dedication to racing and his capacity to overcome every obstacle. The encounter with Sean Whitley, a street racing veteran and a father figure to Jeff, dramatically changed the course of Jeff's life. Although Farm Truck had his doubts about the brazen youth of AZN at first, the two have now grown close. New passions flared as they raced against the clock. In one another they saw a soulmate, passion for the game, and a little bit of rivalry between teammates. An unexpected bond formed, leading to a collaboration that would establish Street Outlaws as a foundational force. When Street Outlaws debuted in 2013, they both made the most of it. The program that propelled AZN and Farm Truck to stardom by providing an inside look at the exciting world of street racing in Oklahoma City. Although Farm Truck was still the undisputed leader in the driver's seat, AZN became a fan favorite in no time. He wasn't like other racers. His charm was palpable, and the event was never dull thanks to his contagious enthusiasm and trademark trash talk. If AZN wanted to poke fun at the other racers, he didn't hesitate to do so. He was the show's promotional tool. There may not have been any big incidents involving AZN on the program, but he did get into a tiny scrape with Farm Truck's automobile in 2018. During a burnout, Farm Truck's automobile let them down at the world-renowned Summernats event in Australia. The Summernats tournament was marred by an incident involving Farm Truck's automobile. In case you didn't know, Canberra, Australia hosts the Summernats, an annual vehicle festival famous for its exciting atmosphere and several automotive events. At this Summernats, Farm Truck's vehicle had a major mechanical breakdown when they were competing in the burnout event. As a kind of entertainment for the spectators, drivers in burnout contests often spin their wheels to produce smoke. Nevertheless, something went terribly wrong with Farm Truck's vehicle during the burnout as it lost control and slammed into a barrier. Despite being in the vehicle, neither Sean nor Jeff suffered any harm. Even now, AZN is an integral cog in the wheel of the Street Outlaws machine. He's a rock for Farm Truck, a positive light for the program, and a fan favorite all across the globe. AZN's relationships. Like many of the other racers on the program, AZN has remained tight-lipped about his private life. However, rumors and conjecture are certain to follow, since a lady called Lisa Lacey has been mentioned as a potential long-term companion. Nevertheless, it is still not apparent what their connection is like. Posts on social media could hint at a relationship, but they never really resolve anything. One possible explanation for the lack of transparency is that AZN prefers to maintain his personal life apart from his public image. Whatever the situation may be, AZN's dedication to racing is undeniable, regardless of how he chooses to approach his career. AZN's friendship with Sean has been a driving force behind the racer, and we're forward to see what the two of them can do together next. What happens after this for AZN is the next big question. Perhaps he'll decide to do more than just watch the game for amusement. A guy who has triumphed over hardship, he is also a devoted friend, an engaging performer, and an authentic gearhead. Farm Truck's sidekick and regular trash talker on the program, AZN, is more than that. Life, like a well-tuned engine, is a journey full of twists and turns, but ultimately, one worth traveling. He is an essential element of the Street Outlaws' legacy, a demonstration of the indomitable human spirit, and an ever-present reminder of this. Give Street Outlaws a like and hit that subscribe button for more intel.